Hi, how are you today? I hope that you had a great week last week. So today we're going to continue with the Infinite Lifetime Sutra. I'm Angelina, your host. Okay, so for the past few episodes of the Infinite Lifetime Sutra, we were talking about the virtues of the 10 vows by Samantabhadra Bodhisattva. Okay, uh, 普贤菩萨十大愿望. So the 10 virtues, last episode we were talking about the fourth. So today we're going to talk about the fifth. The fifth is 随喜功德. 随喜功德 means that to approve of and rejoice at the merit and virtues of others. Okay, merits and virtues. What are merits and virtues? Okay, merits and virtues are highly related to our deeds, our thoughts, our actions, and also our speech. Okay, when we rejoice in the merits of others, it is opposed to what our current society is like. Okay, our current society is such that in the education system you are taught to compete against each other. Okay, when you compete against each other, there will always come the situation where you will either get envious of other people's achievements, or you can even get to the point of jealousy against other people's achievement, right? Not knowing that all these are pretty negative traits. Okay, when this is brought for the child into adulthood, it can cause what people experience this day, the toxic work environment. Okay, all this stem from the underlying kind of habits that have developed over time. Okay, your heart becomes narrower and narrower. Okay, instead of bringing on a pure heart, it becomes polluted. It becomes polluted with competition, it becomes polluted with jealousy, it becomes polluted with things that are against the nature of our very self. So we look into the mechanics of it. Okay, in the previous episodes when I talk about the similarity between us and other beings, I was talking about how we and others are all one and not two. Okay, we are also talking about how things are correlated with each other. Okay, and then we were also talking about the speck of dust. Okay, in the universe, every speck of dust is indeed its own universe, and every single universe, the vastness of the Buddha lands, the vastness of the number of Buddhas is like the specks of dust that we have in this entire world. Okay, even more than that. And last episode we also talk about the Mount Sumeru. We also talk about things that you will not be able to understand in comparison because it is too big for us to understand. Okay, our physical world, okay, the things that we see with our eyes are limited to what we can see. Okay, the sense of visual, what we can see, we can understand. Okay, some people say see to believe, right? But there are many things that we cannot really see immediately. Thus, after a while, you may think that, oh, it is not there, right? For example, like karma, right? If let's say people see, sometimes you see nowadays in the social media, you will see things like immediate karma. All right, somebody do something against other people or anything, and then the next second in the video they may get some form of a punishment that people think is an immediate karma, right? Okay, there are yeah, it is karmic in many ways. Okay, but it is not just as simple as what people think. Right, this sort of karma is related to whether you in your past this person have owed you the same action. Okay, if let's say you just slap somebody, okay, not very good. When you slap somebody and in return you are being slapped by something else, it is in when you look at it, it's like immediate karma. Okay, but if you were to look at it, if the person did not owe you in the past life this slap, you can slap the person and there won't be any thing to slap you back. Okay, there won't be any person to slap you back because this person owe you in the past life, so you are just returning that slap. Okay, but if the person did not owe you in the past life, you slap this person successfully, you will be slapped back. But if there can be also another scenario where you try to slap the person but you fail to slap the person because the person did not owe you anything. Okay, so that one is karmic association between the different lifetimes. Okay, so now back to this part about rejoicing in the merits of others. When we rejoice in the merit of others, you have to understand you are not rejoicing for others, you are also rejoicing for yourself. If you look at yourself as one with others and not you are you, I am I. Okay, we already know that everything is us. You look back into the previous chapters, okay, the previous episodes of this Infinite Lifetime Sutra talk. I already explained how we and others are one because of the very first thought, the energy, the energy there, okay, that triggered the first thought that just came out of nowhere, and then it just kaboom into everything else. If you look at I think just for the span of the past week, science have also discovered something about some um, spinning that is like 716 times kind of speed or whatever. Okay, so that kind of spinning is still far from what the actual is if based on the revelations in the Buddha Dhamma. Okay, 716 spins per second is still very low because our 1 second of thought is a lot more than that, and it was revealed by Maitreya Buddha, okay, our future Buddha, in the sutra itself. Okay, so if we were to look at this, we don't have to go until that much, okay, because our mortal understanding now is this scientifically is 716. So if we were to look at this, it is like spontaneous. Okay, it is like not just spontaneous, it is like a very short period of time. Okay, within that second itself, everything from zero, it becomes complete, everything. Okay, so then science related it to the Big Bang Theory, okay, where suddenly there was a kaboom and then everything else came into action. So if you understand this kaboom, then you'll know that this very first thought, okay, that comes out from the very first initial thought, it conjures everything else. That means you and I are being conjured by this thought. So because we are all being conjured by this thought, actually we are one and not many. All right, we are coexisting, we are correlated with each other, because if let's say I don't exist, okay, you might possibly not exist this way as well, or your existence will be different. Okay, but just because today you and I are exist, right? So there is a correlation. If I don't exist today, you also don't exist. Okay, if you don't exist today, I also won't exist, right? You see the correlation over there? It's because you exist that I exist, right? Otherwise, if I don't exist, there is no consciousness to know that you exist. Okay, get that? You managed to get that? Okay, so this is the correlation. So when we look at such a correlation, when other people perform a good deed, okay, when other people perform a charity, we rejoice because whatever charity that they have performed is also our charity, right? Instead of being jealous, because there are some people who are very jealous upon the achievements of others, okay, and this jealousy has actually changed the way that our society is working. right? How? In the past, okay, ancient wisdom, they have taught us when we teach a teacher teaching a student, you will need to teach everything so that this student can learn all that you have learned in full. Okay, that was how our Lord Gautama Buddha had learned when he looked for all these teachers before his enlightenment under the Bodhi tree. They taught him everything that they know. And so the Buddha elevated himself to their position, to the same level as them. Okay, and then when he elevated himself to the same level as them, they will tell him, I have taught you everything. There was one guru who said that, I have taught you everything. With your knowledge now, we can just rule the world. That kind of similarity lah, become the subject matter expert. But the Buddha is not satisfied, so he went on to look for the next guru. Alright, so from one guru to another and learning up to their level, the next guru said that I have nothing more to teach you. If there's anything else, you will need to learn it by yourself. Okay, it has come to that peak level. I have nothing else to teach you. Right, you have reached where I am. So I cannot teach you beyond that because I don't know. Right, so eventually it became what the Buddha, our Lord Gautama Buddha, he had to go learn himself. And that's how he demonstrated to us his Bodhi tree enlightenment. Okay, so with this, we rejoice. Every time we teach somebody something, we teach fully with the hope that this person, this student, after he had gotten it, then he will be able to upscale himself, right? He will then be able to go beyond what our achievements are. He goes beyond. So the legacy lives on, right? And then, like the Buddha, after he has learned, his teacher taught him everything. And he had learned them to be same level as them. And then he went on to the next until it comes to the point where the highest point of the teacher said that I have nothing else to teach you. You'll have to discover it yourself. Right? So when he discovered it himself, he discovered the enlightenment, he came to cascade the knowledge back to these teachers, okay, with the hope that whatever he had learned, he can also benefit them. All right, because he understood. He becomes enlightened, they become enlightened. Without them, he cannot be enlightened. All right, this is the theoretical of how it works. Okay, so the moment you have learned something or you have achieved something, you come back and benefit all the others. Right, physically we see that happening, but in the other way to say it, when somebody else has performed a merit, okay, because we are all within the same ecosystem, we are all within the same existence. His merit is the same as my merit, so I should not be jealous of him. I should rejoice. I should be, right? Oh, he has the money to do that charity, right? Me, in my capacity, with the money that I have, I cannot perform this charity, but I'm really happy for him, for he can perform this charity. Bravo, right? You really rejoice in what this person can do, so you will not be jealous if, let's say, this person who has performed this charity is being rewarded, right? Karmically, if you perform charity of money, then you will be rewarded by financial riches. If you perform the charity of dharma, you are rewarded the by the rewards of knowledge, right? Of wisdom. And if you were to protect others from harm, this charity will give you health and longevity. Okay, so there is no jealousy. No jealousy is supposed to happen because you understand and you do not feel that their achievements are not my achievements. When you understand that their achievements are also your achievements, my achievements, everything is equal. Okay, you have money, you give to charity, I rejoice in your charity. At the same time, me too will be able to reap the benefit of this charity. How? If we were to go into the karmic part of it, I know it's going to be very complicated, but we can make it into a simple scenario. Okay, somebody, let's say a charitable person, builds schools for the society. Okay, we rejoice in it, and in fact we are supportive of what this person has done. Okay, this charitable deed. In return, the students have a school to go to, and when students have a school to go to, our society is upgraded, right? Our society becomes educated. When you become educated, people have jobs when they grow up, right? After they graduated, they have jobs. And when they have jobs, everyone is salaried, everyone is paid. If they don't want to find a job, they get educated, they do their own business. Everyone earns a living, whether employed or self-employed, right? When you earn a uh, 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 earn your own living, right? Then what happened? You and I benefit because there will be lesser crime. There won't be robberies because everybody earns a living. There won't be theft. Okay, there won't be any kind of scams or whatever because we all benefit from the entire ecosystem, right? But on the other way, if let's say you're jealous of it, right, and then you try to sabotage the effort, so your act of sabotaging is a selfish act because you don't understand the correlation between you and the society and you. So when you sabotage, right, the retribution will come, right? People don't get the chance of good education, or they face a lot of hurdles in education. So when they face hurdles in education, they start to lack the belief. They will think that the society is unfair, the society is dirty, the society has no hope. And in return, they come back. They don't care whether they pass through school or they drop out of school. Okay, because to them, even if they pass through all the exams, even if they are able to complete everything, the society is still not fair because there are people who will still block other people's success, right? And the person who block their effort of education, okay, being jealous, block the effort of education, is the first negative role model that triggered that disbelief of a common good. Okay, so the retribution is heavy. Right. So when we talk about this, now you see a very fundamental correlation between you and the society. You and the society are one. As long as it benefits anyone, do anything that benefits others, it will come back to you. So you rejoice in it. Okay. Even if okay, after this low level of understanding, okay, our mortal level of understanding, we look at the Samantabhadra Bodhisattva's vow. Okay, his rejoice is not just about this society. His rejoice is also to the merits of the Buddhas and the Bodhisattvas. The rejoice of them teaching, educating, okay, sharing the knowledge to others so that everyone can get enlightened, right? If you are jealous, if your heart is narrow, when somebody is trying to spread the Dharma to help others to become enlightened, this jealousy will say, stop, cannot, you cannot enlighten other people because I want to be the one to enlighten other people. Okay, that is a very jealous thought, and that thought will come to you negatively. You yourself will not be able to get enlightened. Okay, any jealousy thought, you already set the hurdle for yourself. Okay, but the Buddhas and the Bodhisattvas, they don't do that. Okay, they share the knowledge, they share the wisdom, they help people to get enlightened. Okay, they pave all kinds of protection, all kinds of opportunities for the learning so that the individual can become enlightened, right? There is no selfish motive because they understand this person enlightened means I am enlightened as well, right? So you see, today I can share this because this morning before I started recording this video, I went to meet an old colleague, okay, my superior. Okay, I was reporting to him in my previous job. So he is one, I would say, somebody very popular, okay, a who's who kind of person in his trade, right? And for many years in my career, what I do has nothing to do with what his role is doing, okay? Nothing to do with his SME. But I have always thought, after I have become his subordinate, okay, I have always thought, if only I can learn from him. But because our functions are not overlapping, okay, because previously I was in marketing communications role, so it has nothing to do with compensation and benefits role, right? His is a comms and bans person in HR, okay? If let's say you don't understand, um, his role is human resources, my role is communications, branding, marketing, right? So, but I became his subordinate when I joined his company. Back then we were in the same company, but we have both left since, okay? When he was in that company, he took me in for internal communications and marketing. Okay, still marketing communications. So there are many things that suddenly I got absorbed into HR, parked under HR, and I started to learn bits and pieces because I was supporting the different functions of HR. So when I'm supporting the different functions of HR, there are certain things that I started learning. I start to hear, okay, the terminologies in HR, and which lead to today, okay, about I think 21/8 I started joining, 21/9 2020 I left in 2020, and then now in 2024 I have landed in an official HR role, but still not under compensation and benefits. I landed in a role in learning and development because learning and development is not as science as it can be very science as well, okay, when you want to talk about the analysis of your training needs, but it has nothing to do yet with the core HR roles. But my current boss, there is an opportunity, okay, for me to explore into this compensation benefits role. So what I did when my current boss talks to me this way, I just thought of this ex-boss. Okay, so I told my ex-boss, I'm suddenly asked to task on this role. Can you teach me? Can you help me to understand so that I can become functional? At least, because I'm zero in this. So we met this morning over brunch. Okay, so 9:30 to 12:30, 3 hours. He gave me a crash course of the fundamentals and then put me into a scenario for me to have immediate answer to what I need when it comes to for me to be able to do this first task that I was tasked with by my current boss taking into this role. So he had understood my temperament. Okay, he had understood my core strength. My strength was in copywriting. Okay, I'm more with the words, but not so much with the numbers, not so much with the Microsoft Excel. Okay, so he understood my strength, but his strength is in all the numbers and everything, the technical stuff about all these things. So he had used my language to teach me how to get into that understanding of the compensation benefits role, of the functions of it, of how to get things done. Okay, so in that 3 hour crash course, most of the hours, the first 2 hours was actually to bring me into that core understanding, to bring me into that one in terms that I can understand. Okay, so correlating everything right? He said, if I was a pure HR, if I come from the pure HR with all the calculations and everything, he will go into the calculations before he will ask me to put the names in, to put the label in for everything that he had taught me. But because I am from the other side, I'm good with words but not with the understanding of the numbers, he made me put the label first, and then he gave me the formulations of what to do, right? He used a very simple common sense kind of thing, okay, to look at everything. And by the end of the session, right, I may not have that full background, all right, because he had taught me everything that he can based on the limitations of time and also the information that we have. But for this aspect, the basics of it, he has already given me, as he spoke of himself, he would have taught me 80% of what to do for my particular case, okay? But fundamentals, I think he has also given me about 80% and the understanding of it, okay? The remaining 20% is about the scenario in my company, which when he asks, I can just tell him I really don't know, because I have not um, been given the privilege to know yet, right? Because I just verbally okay with this role. So the fundamentals are there. He taught me what I can. Okay, it's just like the Buddha teaching the student, the disciple, the person whose karma is right. Okay, teaching him based on how this other person understands. Okay, so when he teach me full this way, the expectation is that I have learned, I'll be able to use it, and hopefully I'll be able to exceed. Okay, if I exceed, my escalate this Sifu, this CMD person will find it a lot easier if I were to face with other things, right? He can teach me, and it will be a lot easier for him. And it is also to his satisfaction that he's able to guide somebody without a HR background to be able to do this, right? So he doesn't hold back the information, he doesn't hold back that kind of learning, that kind of teachings, right? Because there is no reason for any selfish motive, right? He transferred the knowledge. So in our transfer, right, he knows that I learned, that means he was also good. It satisfies him as the teacher, right? So it's one, it's not two. Okay, basically this is the, I would say, traditionally, when people are transferring knowledge, this is what is supposed to be. You transfer everything that you know, okay, to the level of understanding of the person that you're transferring knowledge with. All right, I must admit, it won't be the last session. This is just the first session, and it's not the last session that I will have with him, because along the way I'll have many things that I will need him to teach me. Right? But this crash course is good for me to learn the basics on how to get into that role. Okay, I'm really grateful for that. So, coming back to this, ancient traditional way of teaching is like that. You teach all so that the next one can exceed. But our society today is selfish, right? Our society today, I don't know from which generation, our society is such that you teach but you keep the 10%, you don't teach, right? So what happens? Your 100%, when you teach and you don't teach your next generation, the learning, assuming that the retention of knowledge is 100% from the student, but the retention of knowledge is only 80-90% of what you know, because you kept the 10%. And because you kept the 10%, this next student will think that, oh, last time my teacher kept 10%, I shall keep 10% as well. So what happens is he gives another 10%. So the next person that is in line learning from this second person, the third person will also not get the 100% from this 90%. It will be reduced 80%. And if you look at this entire thing, eventually people will become lesser and lesser and lesser. Okay? And if we were to look back at that school charity example that we have shared earlier, this kind of suppression of the knowledge, this kind of teaching but withholding, okay, cascaded down, eventually one day it will split into 0.0% of the original 100%. Okay, do we want that to happen? We don't want, right? We still, if for those who have children, for those who are parents, you will hope that your children are better off than you, right? But hold on to that same theory that you have, the same thought that you have. You want your child to be better than you. You will want to hope that your child meets somebody who will teach them 100%, right? And not teach them 90% and hold the 10%. Knowing that, you will also teach 100% to other people's child, because in the hope that other people will also teach your child 100%. If everybody shares the same emotion, okay, everything is perfect. Unfortunately, it is not like that. You have selfish thought. You will start thinking, my child must be given the best. My child deserves the 100%. But other people's child, I don't want other people's child to be better than my child. So I withhold. I only give 90%. Why do you expect other people to give your child 100% when you yourself are giving other people's children 90%? I would like to ask, right? So this is the jealousy. This is the jealousy that will reduce us to the naught. It has already reduced us to many things, okay? Like today's society. You keep talking about science, you keep talking about technology and everything, but you already withheld so many things that will make you a human. You look at after so many years, suddenly during the COVID-19, when everybody was faced with fear and whatnot, suddenly you see there comes the part about empathy, there comes the part about logic thinking, there comes the part about common sense. It becomes public knowledge that all these things are not us, which are supposed to be the fundamentals, are not common at all. You know, like they always use the phrase, common sense is not common at all. Okay, not everybody has common sense. So this is what happens. Okay, if you don't teach all, you don't expect people to teach all to your child, to your next generation. And because of this, we are reduced. So back to the topic, rejoicing other people's merits. If we do not rejoice fully in other people's merits, right, we become jealous. What do you think of the return is to us? One person gives the merit, one person gives a charity, he reaps 100% of merits. Okay? So another person seeing his charitable deeds also rejoice in him 100%. This rejoice will bring this person also 100% enjoyment of it. You will also feel that happiness. But if let's say you're jealous, and you say, yeah, then you start with what we term now as gaslighting and everything else, right? You gaslight, you discredit anything. Why do you expect that when you do a charitable deed, why do you expect people to rejoice in it? Why do you expect people to congratulate you when you do a good deed if you cannot congratulate other people on their good deeds, right? So we are all correlated. When we're talking about rejoicing in the merits of others, rejoicing in the merits of the Buddhas, because the Buddha's merit is to bring us enlightenment. We rejoice in it. We feel grateful for it. We feel thankful that there are Buddhas who are actually sharing all this wisdom with us so that we can become enlightened too. The respect that we have will reap us the enlightenment that we get. Okay, so this is how it works. Rejoicing in others' merits is not just about, oh, congratulations, I'm so happy for you, for your achievements. It's not just that. Okay, it is how the percentage that is inside, that is able to be calculated without the calculators, without the supercomputers. You can't measure with the what we have in a mundane world, but it can be calculated, it can be known karmically. You rejoice 100%. You feel that, oh, other people's achievements, okay, the merits can be because other people's achievements. Person A is able to graduate with flying stars, okay, about something. You rejoice in the person's achievement. You are, when you rejoice in this person's achievement, your happiness is the same as the person, right? If you were to gaslight the person's achievement, okay, you can't expect people to rejoice in yours, no matter how well it goes, because people will still gaslight your achievements. All right? Understand this. This is the very fundamental of it. Okay? When we're talking about all these things that I'm sharing right now, it is the fundamentals of the Infinite Lifetime Sutra. It is to pave way, to let you know that we are all one and not many. You understand this concept, Infinite Lifetime Sutra is like simple, so simple, because it will lead you to understand, to fully embrace that karma is the only law, and to become a Buddha, you must think as a Buddha. Okay, so this is the fundamentals when it comes to Infinite Lifetime Sutra. And why is it that the Samantabhadra Bodhisattva's vows are being embraced by all the Bodhisattvas who are on their path into enlightenment with the Infinite Lifetime Sutra? You will see the correlation if you already understood far enough. Okay, I have given so many lectures. Okay, this is the, should be the 13th. I'm not sure. Later when I edit this video, then I will know. So many episodes of it, right? The first episode, we just explained the title, and then now we're talking about those who were present during the congregation, and the Bodhisattva that is present in the congregation. The first one is Samantabhadra Bodhisattva. And why is Samantabhadra Bodhisattva the first one to be mentioned? Is because of these 10 vows. It is the perfection, the vow that will, if you follow accordingly, right, it will be that thing, the perfection, that will lead you to enlightenment. It is not just lead you to the enlightenment, it is the very exact patterns, behaviors, character, persona, whatever you call it, whatever you want to label it. It is this that separates you from a bodhisattva and a layperson. Okay, a bodhisattva, you have to understand, a bodhisattva already realized that everything is fake, okay, but law of karma is real, the only real thing in this world. Okay, if you were to go into Theravada Buddhism, the first stage of sainthood is already clear to you. It is law of karma, it is cause and effect, nothing else. Everything that's happening in our mundane world is all cause and effect. And if you believe in cause and effect deeply enough, you want the effect to be enlightenment. For you to become a Buddha, your cause have to be about Buddhahood, right? You don't have a cause that will lead you to hell. and expect its effect to be a Buddha, right? So your cause and effect, you will know how to lead to this, all right? Or you can know the common sense of it. Okay, your common sense is that you want to become a Buddha, you don't become a devil. Okay, so it is that simple. Fundamentally, it is that simple. If you're able to grasp into that kind of principle of it, right? It is really that simple, nothing complicated at all. The simpler it is, the easier it is for you to achieve enlightenment. Like Master Ching Kung always say, who are the people who gets enlightened? Who are the people who easily gets taken by Amitabha Buddha into Pure Land? Okay? It is not the most intellectual, it is not the richest, but you see a lot of aunties or uncles, they are very simple people. They don't overthink, they don't overanalyze, right? There was one example that he used when he was giving his Dhamma talk. This old lady who is very obedient, and she is very respectful to everything. Okay, she can be respectful to the land deity. Every time when you see those earth deity little temples, right, she will obey. If you see those big deities or the Buddha, Bodhisattvas, goddess, and everything, she will give her respect. At the same time, she also respect those like the spiritual, the ancestors and everything. So the ghosts also she respect, the earth deity she respect, the Bodhisattvas and the deities, everything she respects. Okay, but at the same time, when her son married this girl just told her, you just obey Amitabha. Okay, just chant Amitabha, right? She obediently do that too. Okay, her her respect to all the different deities, it is just like being paying respect to all Buddhas. Okay, remember fundamentally everyone is a Buddha, everything is Buddha, every single thing. Okay, so whether it's a deity or a ghost or an ancestor or a human or whatever, her respect to them is like, you know, the respect for all Buddhas. So when her daughter-in-law says, stop all, you just concentrate on Amitabha Buddha. Indeed, she listened and she benefited. Okay, she quietly just chanting Amitabha, Amitabha, Amitabha. Every day she doesn't neglect her duties as the mother of the family. Okay, and the children are all very, very respectful as well. So one day, after she had cooked everything, and then she just tell the children, "Oh, you all eat first. I want to shower and change. You all go ahead and eat first." Okay, but the children are very pious as well, right? They waited for her. Okay, they don't, not like the children that we have today. The grandmother, the mother, and the children. Okay, 3 generations. The grandmother cooked, and then she said she is going to shower. So ask the children and the grandchildren to eat first. But these are very pious children. They're very good family. Okay, good family not in the sense of wealth. Okay, good family in the sense of their upbringing. So parents and child and children, they waited for the grandmother to come out from a shower. Okay, she came out from shower and she went to change and everything. But they're waiting. Why is it that grandma doesn't come out from her room for so long? Right? Because she just asked them to eat first. She's going for a shower and change. She didn't come out from her room. Okay, so they went to her room after a while and they discovered that she was dressed in her robes for prayers. Okay, and she was sitting there and she was no longer breathing. She knew that the time has come for her to leave. Okay, she had obediently chanted Amitabha, and Amitabha had listened to her. So obediently, also she wants to follow Amitabha to Pure Land. So after knowing her time of departure is like your flight ticket. Okay, you know what time you have to leave for the airport to go fly off. So Amitabha gave her flight schedule. Okay, so she had known, and she was wise. She didn't tell the children, she didn't tell the grandchildren. She cooked, everything was like normal. And then she just told them, you go ahead and eat first. I'm going to shower and change. Right? She didn't let them know. If she let them know that she was going to leave that day, what will happen? The child will cry, the grandchildren will want her to stay and everything. Then she won't be able to leave for Pure Land. Okay, but no. She prepared everything like usual. She cooked for them and whatnot. Right? And she didn't come out. They went in to see her. She was already gone. And everything looked perfect. Her physical appearance, everything was still perfect. Right? There was no struggle, no nothing, but she was dressed in her robes and everything. Right? And she had also prepared the morning clothes. You know, in Chinese custom, we dress differently. The morning clothes, the son and the the daughters-in-law, they'll have a certain color, then the grandchildren will have another color and things like this. She prepared everything. Okay, but she left. She didn't let them know because she didn't want them to stop her. Okay, so this is the kind of wisdom, right? So when we look at all these things, ultimately what we want to do is we want to be able to achieve to become a Buddha. Okay, we understand that by going to become a Buddha, we have completed everything, right? So we understand we want to go there instead of now, like we're all struggling, right? You see, like me now, I still have a job, and then I'm being tasked to do things so that I can earn a salary, so that I can be able to earn a living, that kind of thing. So understand that we are all one with each other and not more than one. Okay, that is fundamental. And understand that cause and effect are real. Okay, but as a Sotapanna, the first stage of sainthood and Theravada Buddhism, they already understood that. Okay, but they will still need to go through many things unless the simpler it is. The very simple one is that you want to become a Buddha, you have to think of becoming Buddha. You have to think like a Buddha. Okay, power of manifestation. Okay, the cause is you are thinking of the Buddha, the effect is you become a Buddha. Okay, so understand this fundamental, and then after that you will know. When we talk about rejoicing other people's merits, it is none other than rejoicing in our own merits as well. Okay, so we shall end our session today. I hope that you have benefited, and we shall continue next session. The sixth one, 广修供养称为成功者，随喜功德。Okay, so 随喜功德，青春法轮 the seventh will be, the next one will be 青春法轮. That means to turn the Dharma wheel. Okay, we shall talk about that in our next episode. Okay, so meanwhile, take good care, right? The things that I share in this Infinite Lifetime Sutra is something that we have to reflect every single day. Okay, and eventually you will understand, because now the theories are already there. I'm trying to share it all with you. Okay, so meanwhile, take good care. Amitabha. Bye bye.